6:23. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And at this time, we will, Karen, would you mind, since you're in front of the flag there, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
To get out of the way a little bit. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
This is nice. We should have been doing that.
Becky likes the chair. Duly noted. The first item on the agenda for tonight is approval of the agenda. I guess I should go ahead and make everyone aware that there are several items that we had to probably consider tabling because we do not have everyone present. If you will remember, at the meeting back last month, we ended up tabling the appointment of a vice chair because Terry was not able to be present, and tonight we do not have Ed present. So I feel that would only be appropriate to table that item from the agenda. And under new business, we had the Board of Election and Registration training that we were going to do. And without Ed being present again, it'd probably be best to table that so he could be present as well. So those are two items that I would recommend we remove off the agenda for tonight. But that's where we're at.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and include tabling item 5B, appointment of a vice chair, and item 6A, the Board of Elections training.
Second.
All right. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the agenda will be approved with those two changes. Thank you. And at this point in time, we might need to take a pause. Are you good?
Yeah, the door downstairs got shut, so nobody could get in.
Okay. So just to bring you up to speed for your minutes, we did go ahead and have a motion by Terry, seconded by Becky, to remove item 5C under unfinished business.
5B.
Sorry, no, it would be 5C for appointment of the
Vice chair.
vice chair.
Or did you say B? I'm sorry.
I did. My agenda says 5B.
Mine says 5C. What do you have, Rick?
I guess C.
CSC.
5C is appointment of vice chair,
Okay, so,
and the training is 6A.
I have a different agenda.
She's
You
got
do.
the first agenda that was
She-
sent out because we had to go back and add the one.
Okay.
Um,
So let me revise my motion. I'm gonna amend my motion. I'll revise my second.
Okay.
On my colleagues, the newly revised agenda. Okay, so I make a
I've got a
motion
copy of it.
to approve the agenda, including tabling item 5C, the appointment of a vice chair, and item 6A, the training for the Board of Elections members.
Second.
all right. Any additional discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right. That should bring us up to speed now. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the December 5th regular meeting and the February 6th regular meeting. Those were sent out via email, and I believe there were several revisions that were recommended by Ms. Cantrell, and those have been corrected. Did anyone else have anything to change on either one of those two sets of minutes? from the regular December meeting or regular February meeting?
I do not.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from both meetings.
A second motion.
Okay, any additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carries, thank you. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. We have, to address the November 9th, 2023 special election meeting minutes. This was the certification of the municipal election meeting that we held. And at that time, two of the members were not present at the certification meeting, and we're not sure if they could vote in approving of the minutes. So we need to go ahead and take a vote on approving those minutes. If everybody can remember that the election results that were presented for the certification were as outlined on the election results that we received that night for the municipal elections.
And Jackie, you and Becky voted at that meeting to approve the minutes. Rick and Terry voted that they were not at the meeting for the certification, but from the results of the certification and from what they saw in the minutes, they agreed with it. They just abstained from voting for it.
Correct.
Correct.
So that brings back to the fact that we need to take a vote for approving those minutes since we had two people abstain.
You need 3 people to
Yes,
vote
ma'am.
for it.
We need
Yes,
3
we need-
people to
mhm.
approve them.
So, does anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 9th special called meeting, which was the certification of the November election?
I'll make it, go ahead.
Oh, no, well, go
I'll
ahead.
make a motion to approve
Okay.
on the November 9th.
Okay. Do we have any additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it carries, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the polling place agreement. As everyone is aware, this has been something that we have been working on for a while. There is a copy in your notebook of the polling place agreement. First would be the original, and followed by one that has received some revisions from the attorney's office. We have sent it back with a couple of other suggestions that we wanted to have updated, and by we, that would be myself and Ms. Godfrey. And it's just a couple of things, mainly about semantics, I think, more than anything. And then there was one, item number 8, I'm not sure that we need to include in the agreement, which is about the compensation of the premises. Most of the premises that we use are donated, so we really don't feel that that's even a necessity. The county, the schools, everybody is willing to cooperate, provide us with the locations. So that would be about it. Ms. Godfrey, you have any other updates on things you remember that we had?
Are you saying this 8 should be taken out?
Yes, we've asked for 8
Yes,
to be
we've asked
stricken.
for 8 to be taken out of the agreement, and then one of the other changes that we made was in the original agreement that we had worked with on with the previous attorney, we had done it for a 24-month period. The new one that was submitted to us said 12, so we changed that back to the 24. And then there were just a couple places in the agreement that stated the board when it's actually the election office that does it, so we just had them change that to the elections office. As far as working with the owners of the polling locations, since we're the ones that actually works with them instead of the board, we had them change that to the elections office. And then at the very end, we had them change it from the board to the election supervisor in signing, and instead of attesting by the supervisor, attesting by the board chair.
So this is obviously not the version that we would vote for the board to approve. It will continue to remain an item under unfinished business going forward, but just wanted to bring you up to speed on where we are, and obviously have you all have a chance to look it over. And please provide us any updates or feedback that you feel would be beneficial in this, so that we can share that with the attorney's office, and make sure that the agreement is something that you all stand behind. So,
Is there anybody that would expect to be paid for?
No, ma'am. No, all of our 12 polling locations, and then the early voting location, it's just always been that they've let us use those facilities. And some of the facilities that we do use are county owned, so that's not an issue. It's just we talked about it before with, us using 3 of the schools. We wanted to make sure that we definitely had something in writing going forward.
and it would be beneficial for the school to know what we're needing to in advance, for those changes that we have had at the top with like principals and superintendents. So if they had something in writing, then they would know what's expected. So, okay. So we will be awaiting the final version, hopefully, to have at the next meeting. And
Okay, let me ask you a question. Why are there 2 different documents? They're the same thing.
The first document was the document that we did with the previous attorney back in 2023, and it was more of a condensed version. And then when we got our, went with Gerard and Davis for our new attorney, they have a section of attorneys that just deal with agreements, and they looked over our original one and they added more to it that is just standard for agreements. So that's why there's 2 different ones, and I put both of them in there for you to compare what we originally looked at
Gotcha.
versus what the new, Gerard and Davis, submitted to us, and then anything that you think you would want to add or take off, if you'll submit that to me, and then we can reach back out to them to get a final draft. And once we get the final draft, then the board can vote on it.
Okay, when do you want this back, Stacy?
Just whenever you get a chance.
Okay.
Yeah, but as long as we have it back by the next meeting, then I think that should be good.
And then, once it's approved, I would also ask that you would, vote that it is fine for Stacy and the chair to just sign once they get, all the polling locations, rather than having to have each one come back here.
Maybe do that before May.
yeah, hopefully we can address it at the April meeting. That's our goal. So, yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions regarding the polling place agreement? As I said, it will remain on the agenda as an unfinished business item, and hopefully we'll be ready to move forward in April for a vote on the final version. Okay? All right. So we will move on to our next item on the agenda, which would be staff comments. Ms. Godfrey?
If the board would just put it on their calendar tentatively to have the certification meeting for the March 12th election for Friday the 15th at 4 p.m. I have checked with the postmaster to make sure that all of the trucks for that day would be in, so any UACAVA that came in as of that Friday deadline, we would be able to receive those and count those towards the total. So we're planning to do that at 4 p.m. on Friday.
This Friday?
No, the 15th.
March 15th.
After the election. We have 3 days for UACAVAs to come in after the March 12th election. So we're going to schedule that tentatively to be the certification meeting. Early voting will continue until 5 o'clock on Friday. Right now, we have had a total of 1,577 voters as of today. We have had 150 absentee by mail applications submitted, and we have had 79 returned. Election day will be March the 12th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at all of our 12 precincts. And we have all of our poll workers, we have about 75 poll workers ready for that. And we're excited to get it going for that day. We've worked hard.
Are you gonna give us our assignments?
Yes, ma'am. I will email you out your assignments, and if the board can come by either the day before the election or election morning and pick up your boxes that have all the extra supplies in it. And then the board will also, if they'll come by around lunchtime, I'll send out an email with more instructions, but to pick up the lunches for the poll workers to deliver out.
Anyone have any? And I think it should be noted too that because we will have all the board members in the same room for the election night, that we will call a meeting that night so that we are in the same room and not doing anything.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because we talked to each other then.
So, yes, ma'am. So we will call a meeting. As of right now, we're planning to do that in the evening when everybody arrives afterward. But if there is a need for anything, we could do it earlier in the day, like when everyone comes to pick up the lunches.
And that will be at your office, correct?
Yes, correct.
Any other additional comments, Ms. Godfrey, that you need to share? Anything? Okay, staff's good, everything's all right, awesome. Okay, moving on to public comments. Do we have anyone present that would like to make a public comment?
Yes, please.
Okay. I will go ahead and share with you our public comment participation policy. Meetings of the Pickens County Board of Elections and Registration are held to conduct the affairs and business of the Office of Elections and Registration. These meetings are public as provided by the Georgia Open Meetings Act, Section 50-14-1B1 and 50-14-1C. While the Act does not make provisions for public participation during a meeting, Pickens County citizens are invited to address the board at all regular meetings at the time shown on the agenda and in accordance with the rules established as follows. Citizens will be given 5 minutes to make their comments. Citizens may be submitting additional information with concerns in writing to the board. Citizens may only speak once per meeting. Public participation in total will not exceed 30 minutes, and the board will not permit anyone to become personally abusive of board members or employees or anyone else in the audience, and the board will not respond to comments or questions posed by citizens in their presentations, but will take those comments and questions under advisement. So with that in mind, Stacy, are you ready to start your timer?
I have mine as well.
Okay.
I'll just pass this out if you don't mind, so everybody has the material. Would you like those? Would you like me to stand at the podium? Where would you like?
That's way far.
Too far?
Yeah, that's fine,
Where
thank
can
you.
you see me? Okay.
That's good. This is about my camera.
Yes, that's the problem. Let me just sit here. So what you have in front of you is a handbill that I created about election integrity. And what you see there is a...
Could you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Kim Bunker, Pickens County resident. Helpful. What you see in front of you is a slog from our primary election in May 2022. What you see highlighted is called the QR code mismatch. It was found in Williamson, Tennessee in 2021. And what that code does is it triggers the Dominion machine, a security error, and it takes the ballot and puts it in a different folder. So it does not get counted, and it affects all the ballots behind it as well. So if you look to the right on that column, you'll see the raw hand counts found on one machine was 163. The poll closing tape only counted 79. The second Dominion scanner had 167 paper ballots, and only 19 had been counted. A third Dominion machine had 330 ballots scanned, and only 98 were counted. This unremedied results in voter suppression. If you look at the bigger number, 65 out of 67 Georgia counties that presented their slogs for analysis had that QR code mismatch. This is about a 97% occurrence rate. If you look at the bottom 1, 2, and 3, these are the three bigger issues for election integrity. First one is bloated voter rolls. We have about 33,000 people in Pickens County. Our voter registration is about 27,000. That's about 105% of total 18 and over able to vote in this county. Hand counts are the second thing. The EAC says an acceptable reversal rate, which is what this error is about 0.002. We're at about 18.6% as a state. And then we need signature verification. And if you turn the bill over, you'll see a case study that happened with Michelle Long Spears in DeKalb County in 2022, who was a Democrat that was running, and she knew she had voted for herself, but Dominion showed 0 votes. 0 votes for her. So she asked for a hand count, and they found 1,805 ballots for her. She went from losing the race in 3rd place to 1st place and winning that commissioner seat. Additionally, they found another 2,800 votes with that hand count that had not been counted with the Dominion machine. This shows that the human hand count reconciled that candidate's valid concerns and shows the egregious errors of the Dominion machines. And this ultimately ends up in voter suppression. And having fair and accurate and transparent election results is really a nonpartisan issue for all of us. So if the Secretary of State doesn't remedy this known error that doesn't count all the votes, Rule 183-1-12.14 states that the county shall be responsible for maintaining all components of the voting system. And further, OCGA 21-2-33-4 says that if any part of that machine, any part, doesn't work, it becomes impracticable to implement in any part or wholly, the supervisor can determine to use paper ballots. And finally, the case law, Curling versus Raffensperger, Judge Totenberg found the QR code unconstitutional originally. That case is still being decided as we speak for a remedy, TBD. The second one is Pearson versus Kemp. The Secretary of State Raffensperger, defense attorney, argued that he had no authority over any county official, successfully. And finally, Sons of the Confederacy versus Henry County. The Georgia Supreme Court decision. Georgia has long recognized that members of a community, whether as citizens, residents, taxpayers, or voters, may be injured when their local government fails to follow the law. A local government at all levels has a legal duty to follow the law, and government owes that legal duty to its citizens, residents, its taxpayers, and its voters. And the violation of that legal duty constitutes an injury. And I should also turn it back over on the bottom, in the bottom right corner of the column. All of these machines had logic and accuracy testing, and they passed with this error code. Every one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments? Anyone else would like to make this time? Okay. I'll turn it over then to board comments.
So I would just like to acknowledge the hard work of Stacy and her office staff, as well as all the poll workers. It is kind of a daunting task, I think, for you guys to get ready for the election cycle. And I know when I went over and helped a little bit anyway during lunch, and plan to do that again this week, the all of the election workers who were there were working really hard, and all had a great attitude, even though they'd been there several hours by then. So I just appreciate everything that you guys are doing.
Thank you, Terry.
And same thing, I appreciate everything you've done, Stacy.
And I will echo that sentiment as well. I do appreciate everything that the staff is doing, the poll workers. Everything seems to be going really well. Nothing is ever perfect, but the attention to detail is definitely there, and I appreciate that. And how hard everybody's working. I think that we're ready for the election. As we've said before, it's going to be a busy year, and to have you steering the ship, I feel pretty comfortable with. So thank you for all you're doing, and thank the staff and the poll workers for us.
Yes, we have about 75 poll workers working this election, and about 25 of them are new, and all of them have been very eager to learn, and they're ready to work. So I think we have a really good retention of existing poll workers, and I hope after they work the new ones after they work this election, that they'll be ready to stay on as well.
And I do believe the veterans have done a great job in helping them feel comfortable with
Yes.
everything that's going to, and having the early vote and giving them the opportunity to work through is good too, that they are getting more comfortable, the new people are getting more comfortable under those type circumstances. So
And
great
I can
job.
just quit losing poll workers to become board members.
Well, and I attended the poll worker training one of the nights that you held it. And I thought it was especially great this year. With the, basically kind of a hands-on with the machines and everything, and the explanations, and an opportunity for people to ask whatever questions that they had. It was really very detailed and well done. So kudos to you guys.
Is there anything else in particular for, my only other comment is for election day, other than coming to the office the day before, if possible, to get our box, otherwise as early, first thing, or do you have a time, precinct, idea of where we should start off our days to assist any?
I will just give you your assignments with your precincts, and then leave it up to you as where you want to start
We're gonna be tag teamed, right?
in the evening.
In the evening,
Mhm.
okay.
All right. There being no further business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any additional discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.